Right, good morning everyone. I think we should start. It's 10:22 according to my phone. I'm sure there will be people coming in while I do some introductory words. My name's Julian Richards. I'm one of the co-organisers of this session on digital infrastructures for archaeology, past, present and future directions, also organised by Polly Wright, who's capturing us for Twitter. And the hashtag, remember if you are going to tweet, is the standard crack CAA hashtag, and then the session, I think we're S22. Session's also co-organised by Franco Nicolucci of PIN, who unfortunately can't be with us today. So Polly and I will be sharing the co-chairing of the session, because it's you're in for a treat, but you're also in for a marathon if you stick with us throughout the day, because it goes on all day through after lunch and after coffee, right to the end. But we've got a fantastic set of papers, many of which, or in fact, I think all of which are contributions, almost all by contributions by members of the ARIADNE association, either as full members or associate members, and we're going to be talking about various efforts that people have made either on an international or national level on work on research infrastructures. So I'm going to give a fairly short introduction to ARIADNE and now ARIADNEplus, the next phase of ARIADNE, before handing over to our speakers. So infrastructure's past, and this does have a CAA long pedigree. Those of you who are at CAA in Aarhus, and probably actually maybe, is anyone apart from me, was anyone at CAA in Aarhus? Yes, this is a long time ago. Anyway, this was a diagram slide by Henrik Jarl Hansen about his vision for the future of joining up repositories and data sets throughout Europe. I've no idea why he chose the metaphor octopus as holding tentacles, I suppose, arms, yeah, but he did, and that's stuck with us. And back in the prehistory of trying to do this, we had a relatively small project led by ADS in Europe called ARIADNE, which pulled together mainly some of our Nordic partners, although Poland was a partner in ARIADNE by the Poznan Museum. And that was a sort of proof of concept for joining up data sets in Europe. And probably one of the first efforts to try and make those infrastructures interoperable. But despite the efforts there, we've largely seen the development of a series of silos, very good silos, but national infrastructures that are very good for providing a national view of data sets such as ADS and DOS and FASTI, and then Nabunkan in Japan and digital antiquity in the United States, to name but a few. But they exist as national services largely. And as we all know, many archaeological research questions are broader than national boundaries. So this was the vision behind ARIADNE, is to try and see how we could make cross searches of those infrastructures possible in order to address some of the grand challenge research questions in archaeology that we wanted to pose that stand beyond national boundaries. So the first phase, ARIADNE, ran from 2013 to 2017 with 23 partners and 18 countries. And just a few months ago in February, we were very pleased to kick off the large group of ARIADNEplus partners gathered in Prato for the kick-off meeting of ARIADNEplus, another 4-year infra project which will run up to 2023, another €6.5 million, but now 41 partners and 27 countries, so a much expanded network. And we're extending Geographically, most importantly, extending geographically beyond Europe to embrace Argentina, Japan, and the United States as well, that don't even fit on the map there. But we're also extending thematically. We're extending in time to bring us right from the earliest hominid days, from paleoanthropology all the way up to contemporary archaeology along this axis. We're extending in space to try and cover all of Europe and beyond Europe, but we're also extending into the broadest range possible of archaeological data, particularly focusing on areas that were maybe neglected a little bit in Ariadne in terms of archaeological science in particular, and bioarchaeology and environmental archaeology. But of course, extending thematically extends the challenges and the problems that we have to do in trying to make some of that data interoperable. So we've set up a number of special interest groups that are already active, covering range of specific data types, who are going to try and address the challenge of how do we make data within those specific subdomains interoperable. We know that there is a demand for this. This was a user needs survey conducted by Guntram Gazer from Salzburg Research Institute as part of the first Ariadne. I won't read through all the statistics there. I'll just pick out there that 80% of researchers agree that they often don't know what research data is available because it's stored in different places. 74% thought it was important to have easy access, but the lack of institutional or international repositories was seen as a barrier. So that is really the user needs, why we're doing Ariadne, why we're doing ARIADNEplus. And our vision and roadmap is both to, as I've already mentioned, in fact, to extend geographically. But of course, this brings up on multilingual language issues, but to extend in terms of metadata, rich metadata, trying to standardize metadata, and addressing some of the complexity that comes with that, moving beyond just flat thesauri to quite complex hierarchical relations. And as you will probably guess, this inevitably then involves using the CDOC CRM to try and link together these data sets of many different data structures. And so we're continuing work that we've done on extending the CDOC CRM in particular areas. We have a data model which was first developed in Ariadne, has then been refined in a subsequent project, Parthenos, which fitted in the gap between Ariadne and ARIADNEplus. And we've been mapping data sets to that. That is in turn mapped with CDOC concepts. But we mapped subjects to the Getty AAT, and periods are defined according to period O. So all defined in terms of URI concepts that we can reference. There's the reference model from the top level right down to quite specific extensions of the CRM for the inference extension, but also science, buildings archaeology, dig geo. And there's our favourite diagram which shows the complexity of what we're trying to do in terms of integrating all these different things, but not creating another closed silo, linking via linked data, making connections outwards to other data sets. They're also online with a registry with all the data is held in, but then making it available via linked data, but also via a portal. But then the data being provided by a multitude of different sources, whether they are themselves data centers and repositories, or other portals or institutional databases, going down to specific research projects that will be providing data upwards through that hierarchy. There's the famous portal. I hope you all had a look at it. It was launched at CAA in Oslo. And it's quite a powerful tool already, I think, in terms of cross-searching, but there are plans in ARIADNEplus to extend it, to develop it, to make it more useful, not just to put more data in it, but particularly to extend some of the geographical capabilities of it. We will also be doing more transnational activity, training workshops, so look out for advertisements for those. We'll be extending the ARIADNE services, so landscape visualization, visual media services. We're also going to be doing more work with colleagues in the University of South Wales, but also colleagues in CNR, and also looking at what other tools are available. We'll work on data mining using natural language processing to enhance a lot of the metadata where it's not available from manual cataloguing. Of course, we've got to pay due regard, because since ARIADNE, the FAIR principles have gained a huge amount of traction. If you're not aware of them, I would recommend you have a look at the ideas behind FAIR data, that things should be findable, accessible, interoperable and reusable. And the ARIADNE infrastructure will be working according to those principles and trying to increase their take-up in archaeology. All this needs to be underpinned then by standards. So we did work on developing the ADS and digital activity guides to good practice, created some additional ones in ARIADNE. We'll be further updating them through ARIADNEplus and allied projects. And we also, as well, now need to be plugged into the broader research infrastructure network. So this is coming to the end of my introduction. This is part of the futures of infrastructures. You may be aware that there's a lot of investment now going on into this thing, the European Open Science Cloud, EOS, which ARIADNE is a small part of. This aims to cover all disciplines throughout Europe. In a way, we're part of one subset of that, which itself is vast, the Social Sciences and Humanities Open Cloud, SHOC, which has also just launched this year, and that brings together a lot of the large infrastructures such as CESDA and Clarin, Daria, so forth. But also there is a potential new infrastructure, ERIC, one of these European instruments for research infrastructure, is in its preparatory phase. ERIS, European Research Infrastructure for Heritage Science, which sort of sits at the other end of the humanities and social sciences and links much more to the sciences. And ARIADNE also needs to be positioned with regards to that in terms of its longer term sustainability. So that's the broader environment that we're working within. And also we're working closely with a new cost action, that's the ARDA, Saving European Archaeology from a Digital Dark Age, which was also launched this year. There's a lot of overlap between partners, and the cost action will allow a lot of networking, activities, capacity building, and it's a way that partners, countries that aren't yet working within ARIADNE can also participate and take part in conferences and workshops too. So also look out for that, because that is also a key part of that broader environment.